I'm so excited. My friend Anthony did this look on Adele. I've done 𝗕𝗲𝘂𝘁𝗄𝗏, but I love it with this lip. Let's recreate. So I did my brows darker than normal, and now I'm even going to add a little bit of black eyeshadow with an E26 brush. So we need this look to be very cool toned, so we're going to use a white base. Smooth this out. Remember, the lighter your base, the truer your eyeshadow color is going to be. Sometimes your cool tones aren't showing as true as they can because the base you use, or even your skin tone, is changing the undertone of your eyeshadow. I feel like this is going to be the perfect palette. Let's start with this shade, and let's lay that down through the upper crease as a transition. Now let's grab this shade. Let's go ahead and set and highlight the brow bone. Bring that over here to soften. Grab the shade on the tip of the brush, and we're going to start to contour this out. We're starting the shading process. Let's make sure that we extend over this way. It's going to lightly pull towards the tail of my brow. We're going into black eyeshadow. That means a smaller brush. You're going to have so much more control. And even if you're not sure about where your socket is, you're able to find it with a small brush. Just kind of stamp it in there. We want it to creep out a little bit, but we want the majority of that black eyeshadow to be focused in the socket. And the tiny little brush like this does that for us. Just kind of keep stamping till we come all the way over here. Take the side of that first brush we used and just soften this into those first transitions. I have micellar water here on my C30, and I'm just going to clean up my lid space to about right there. You see that natural fold in my eye right there? Notice how we brought this over much farther and much higher. We're reshaping the eye. If you're in a rush and your micellar water doesn't have time to dry, just tap a little bit of translucent powder on top of your lids. Back in with the white eyeshadow base. So much easier to clean up and carve with that micellar water instead of just trying to carve back over all of that shadow with just the eyeshadow base. Now let's set the lid with this shade. It's a little bit more creamy, less stark white. Really press that into that base. So we're gonna do some smudging, but we're not gonna reach for an eye pencil, and I'm gonna tell you why. Some of you might struggle when you try to smoke out an eye pencil, and the reason why is because 99% of eye pencils, they dry down, and we don't know how quickly that they dry down. And when they're dry and we're continuing to blend them, that's when we get patchiness and chaos. So instead, we're going to use a black eyeshadow base. Does not have to look perfect, but it does need to be thin and even across the lid, or across the lash line, I should say. Some of this eyeshadow base in here, and once you use eyeshadow base to do this, you're not gonna ever use a pencil ever again. You're just not. This is so much easier. I don't have to worry about it drying down. I can take my time and get the shape, get the pre-smudge. We're still gonna have to set this. That's the one thing. You're gonna need some black eyeshadow to set it, but it's so much easier. Let's take a C31, just do some stamping motions just to soften and smudge this a little before we set it with any black eyeshadow. Satisfying. Black eyeshadow on the side of the brush. We're going to set this area first. Then black eyeshadow on the tip of the brush to smudge and set our lash line. Let's start to clean this up. Micellar water again. Adele lashes 811, and a little birdie told me that these are the actual lashes Adele wears. We're gonna make this a lot lighter, I'll show you, but this match is so good. True match C5. Now, even though this is a perfect match, I need to make it much, much lighter. We're going for more 𝗕𝗂𝘂𝘁. I have been screaming and hollering about these for years. The LA Girl mixing pigments. This is going to be amazing. Not only for this spooky look we're doing, but we're going into the winter months. I'm going to get so much more fair. I need this because I'm not going to let my foundations sit in the drawer. And I'm also not repurchasing a bunch of new foundations. So I have my mixture here and I tested it here on my chest, but I still want it to be a little bit lighter. So I'm going to mix 2 more pumps in there. This is a lot, but this is a costume. We're looking at it that way. Okay, I think that's gonna be pretty perfect. This is so much fun. Now we're just gonna work it in like we always do. Don't forget your ears. I'm gonna take it all the way down my neck, on my chest. I love Halloween makeup. I'm gonna switch to a smaller concealer brush so we can really melt that in through there. We still need to get our contour shade, so don't worry too much about that. Let's do a mixture of white concealer and just a dot of this very pink concealer. We're still gonna brighten with white powder. Blend this out, super satisfying to watch. And then we definitely wanna connect it. See how I'm connecting that brightness to the brightness on the lid? That's gonna be really pretty. Take it under here. Now before I get this fully blended out, let's get a little bit of liquid bronzer on. I love this one. You can usually find it really on sale on the Nordstrom website. So if you'll notice, Adele's look actually has a lot of warmth. There's still contour, but towards the higher points of the face, there's a lot of warmth. And I also wanted to blend this out before we start to blend and finish blending that concealer in case it migrates up too high. But that looks pretty good. Oh my gosh, that's looking so much like the picture. It looks like Adele's nose is warmed up just a little bit with bronzer. It's contoured as well, but I see that there's warmth first. Grab Stage White powder, and we're gonna go ahead and set the under eye and the center of our face. Grab a powder foundation. We're gonna tap this across here, across our lid space. Just a little bit. Back with that black base again. Let's smoke out underneath here. Now we're gonna press and set that with black eyeshadow. Valentino Beauty liquid liner to extend our waterline. Now I'm leaving a little bit of extra white powder to bake. Let's check our work. Okay, the eye, I feel like this is looking like that. Really nice and smooth. And I do feel like the bronzer, and I'm using MAC Give Me Sun. I don't know if I mentioned that. I feel like it creeps up really high, and it goes pretty far towards the mouth. I'm not gonna go that far towards the mouth though. So what we're gonna do is you're gonna start with a little bit of black lip liner. Now we're gonna take MAC Stone Lip Liner and we're gonna blend these two together. Just keep blending. We're gonna grab a contour and we're just gonna connect that through here, just a little there, down the sides of my nose. And then we're gonna contour a little bit here, and you can see how much cooler that is than MAC Give Me Sun. Let's dust off that bake. Finish with this Milani lipstick in the shade Tease. And here is our finished look. Until next year, Halloween.